Will Clemson and South Carolina meet in the college football playoffs? Okay, whoa. Before you get all defensive and go, this is clickbait. Yesterday, when Syracuse was down 21-0 and Clemson had just lost to their in-state rival, if I would have told you that Clemson would be going to play SMU in the ACC Championship this coming Saturday, would you call that clickbait? Sure. Don't blame you. But after this weekend, not only with Clemson, but with other teams, Ohio State losing to a 6-5 Michigan team, Georgia Tech taking Georgia to 8 overtimes, seeing a bunch of teams play much closer with other teams than they should have. Anything is possible. So I'm going to dive into this in just a second. And no, I'm kind of serious here. We'll dive into this in just a second. Hey, welcome to the channel. I'm Brian. I'm glad you're here. Listen, y'all, I put out a call yesterday or over the past couple of days. I said, look, I've been looking at my analytics. And there's a bunch of you who have been watching me for a while now, or you're new viewers. And if every one of you subscribed, I would have so many subscribers it'd be laughable. But what that means is a lot of you are watching and you haven't subscribed. Subscribing is free. You just click the button that says subscribe below the video, and boom, you subscribe. I'm a guy who's just hanging out talking about my football team. Overall, if you like that sort of thing, I hope you'll support the channel by subscribing. It is free. I do appreciate it. A bunch of you started doing that yesterday, and I'm right at 6,000 subscribers, and that means a lot to me. So thank you. Thank you. Let's dive into this. Clemson lost a heartbreaker yesterday to the South Carolina Gamecocks in Death Valley. That's Clemson's second home loss this season. That hasn't happened in forever. I haven't even went back to look at when that happened last because I really don't want to think about it. But Clemson goes in and they lose the game. And all they had to do was win it. They definitely had the game in hand. And they lost. Lanaris Sellers did an incredible job. I told y'all about him last week. If you watch my video on the Gamecocks, who do you think you are? Of course, I created that title and it ticked off some Gamecock fans. What's so funny is I can tell you who doesn't watch my videos. They just comment based on the topic or the title or the thumbnail. I can tell who really doesn't pay attention to it, and they just start typing away by the comment. Because actually I was quite complimentary of the South Carolina football team. I broke down their team and told you a lot of the ways what they did yesterday they were going to do. Now, the defensive line, Clemson held their defensive line at bay. I think they had, one sack? And this is a team that had 39 coming into the game. Matt Luke, that's what happens when you hire a genius. You hire the best offensive line coach in the country. That's what you get. He takes a bunch of guys who are banged up, who's coming out of the injury tent. Some of them were probably on walkers, and they come out there and they play against the third best team in the country when it comes to team sacks and limit them to 1. So that was one thing that was a little different than what I pointed out, but it was a heartbreaker. And so everybody's mad. I did my video yesterday. And then Syracuse plays Miami. Syracuse goes down 21-0, and at that point I checked out. We all know what happens. Syracuse comes back. They were down 21-0, and they beat Miami. I just kept waiting for Miami to hit that quick touchdown and take all hope away. At that point, I really didn't care. I didn't want to deal with it. And then I find out that in fact Miami loses the ball game, and Clemson's going to the ACC Championship to play SMU. Right now, I think SMU is a 2.5-point favorite. But Clemson has a way into the college football playoff. It's shocking. So you have that. Take a look at the South Carolina Gamecocks. You know me, I'm going to tell the truth about a team as I see it. And as I see it, whether they're Gamecocks or not, they're one of the hottest teams in the country right now. So for me, I don't know how you leave those guys out. I don't know how you look at them and say, you know what? we're going to leave you out so we can put in an Alabama team who just lost by 21 points to Oklahoma. Now, I have a lot of respect for Alabama. Us Clemson fans, especially during the run with Dabo Swinney against Nick Saban and that team, you know that I have a lot of respect for Alabama. But Alabama's lost 3 football games, and if they went to their conference championship and won it, I would be like, hey, they're in. They're in. Clemson, they're going to their conference championship game, and I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. In fact, they're not mixed feelings. I feel like Clemson has failed forward. They have failed, yet they're being rewarded. Okay, it's college football. There we go. But you could say, well, Clemson doesn't deserve to be in the college football playoff with the 3 losses that they have. I get your argument. But South Carolina versus Alabama, I know Alabama is the brand that everyone's used to, but South Carolina, I think they deserve to be in. After watching Lanaris Sellers yesterday, when he shed the tackle of both Peter Woods and TJ Parker on the same play. In or on? You know what I mean? I went, oh no. But both of these teams could legitimately meet in the college football playoffs. Let's talk about why that would be fun. It would be fun because you would get part 2. Now, over the years, especially with the playoffs, we have seen teams get rematches. In bowl games over the years or conference championships, we've seen teams get rematches. I don't know if y'all remember this, but I think it was, 1998? 1996 or I think it was 1996. Don't quote me on that. Florida and Florida State played, obviously, their last game of the year. It was a big-time game, top 3 matchup. And then they ended up rematching in the national championship. One took one game and one took the national championship. In fact, Florida State got their head ripped off. Steve Spurrier, I think that was his only national championship while he was at Florida. But people will tune in for this game. This would be fun. You have South Carolina and Clemson meeting. This time, this time they would be meeting for a playoff win, a chance to win the national title. That is fun. You want to talk about views? And this kind of moves into my next point, but this is part of the first one. South Carolina and Clemson playing would be good marketing for the college football playoff. It would be fun. It would probably draw in a lot of views, even from people who normally don't care about Clemson and South Carolina. They just saw what happened. Then let's just say the chaos ensues. Clemson beats SMU this coming weekend. They get into the college football playoff. Something wacky happens with the conference championships this coming weekend as well. And South Carolina gets in to the college football playoff. So now you have a state that is not teeny tiny, but South Carolina, the state of South Carolina, I'm not talking about the school, but I'm talking about the state as a whole, is not very big. I mean, we're not teeny tiny like Delaware or Rhode Island or something like that. But the state of South Carolina is not a big state. So for you to have 2 teams in the college football playoff, and you're not from the state of Texas, you're not from California, or you're not from Florida, you would have 2 teams in the college football playoff. Trust me, a lot of people would tune in just for that, especially what just happened yesterday between losing the rivalry game. Us Tiger fans, unfortunately, are still dealing with that. I still feel weird after yesterday. I still don't even. I feel like I'm in an alternate reality. Between you and I feel like I have been drugged. It's really, really weird. Have the comment section turned off so I can't see it, so I'm not oohing and ahhing. I'm going to get to that in just a second. So if anybody's asking me a question, I'm glad you're here. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to get my thoughts out, because as soon as that comment section goes on, if you ever see or hear me start going, what's wrong with him? He turned the comment section on. It's like Cousin Eddie when you fire up the microwave. He takes a leak on himself. So there we go. I'm glad I'm wearing my diapers now. These are good diapers too. The material's so much different. I'm just kidding. I'm not wearing diapers. I'm just peeing in the floor. But so what I am saying here is that Clemson and South Carolina would be good for the college football playoff. It would be good for both of these teams to play once again. I think it would be a lot of fun. Now, of course, I don't want my team to go lose, but I really believe that there is, I'm not saying a great chance. I did not say a great chance, but I think there's a chance these two could actually meet in the college football playoff, and it would be a really good part two, with the highest stakes ever between these two schools playing one another. And also, it's hard to beat a team twice in the same season. Georgia and Texas, they're about to play in Atlanta. I'm going to do a preview on that game. Hope everybody will pass that along to their friends and neighbors. But I'm going to do a preview on that game, and I'm going to tell you this: Georgia, I haven't even looked at the line yet, but Georgia and Texas, that's going to be a big time, big named game. Georgia and Texas playing in the SEC title. It's in Atlanta. And as much as Georgia fans want to say, we're still 2+ hours away from Atlanta, it's in the state of Georgia, my friend. And I don't care how they divvy out the tickets, you're still at home. Atlanta's home. I know Athens is home. Atlanta's home. You've been there a lot. So you know, when you hear about these big-time games, these big names, even in the conference championships, that brings more views. South Carolina and Clemson would bring a lot of views. A lot of people would like to see that rematch. A lot of people would like to see how Dabo is going to handle South Carolina. How you have a guy at South Carolina who comes from a coaching pedigree, but he's at a school that's not really used to winning a lot. Here he has them in the college football playoff, and he's playing it against a guy who has 2 national championships, who a lot of people's criticizing him for not using the transfer portal, and yet his team is in the college football playoff. I'm telling you, there's just so many good storylines here. But I think that there is a chance that, and a legitimate chance, that Clemson and South Carolina could meet in the college football playoff. Before I go to the comments section, once again, there's a bunch of you in here. Kind of shocked you're in here on a Sunday night like this. But if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will. At least drop me please subscribe first, which is free. Just click of a button, and then drop me a line and let me know that you're in here. It's always good to hear from you. Even if I don't get to respond, it's good to hear from you. Get into the comments section. Whoo! Let's see. Go through these quicks. James Hathcock, the Gamecocks did what they needed to do. Clemson needs to take care of business. James Hathcock, see that symbol beside his name? He supports the channel. The channel. Every month he watches the text to the channel. No, he supports the channel on a monthly basis. James Hathcock, thank you so much. Hey, I hate that your Gamecocks won, but I'm glad you're here. Thanks for supporting the channel. Going through here real quick. Then we'll start going from top to bottom as quick as I possibly can. Won't get all of them. We'll get back to this in just a second. Ray Wren, we earned it. These automatic qualifiers are a joke. Yes, that is possible. Good thing it would be at the Valley. Being an SC fan, but I must admit I'm mortified that we could play Clemson in the game, be left out of the playoffs while Clemson gets in. Yeah, a lot of people have their feelings about that. Trading 4 stars for 3 stars. Wiley Heaton, here's something for you, Bobby. They took Sammy Brown out in the 4th quarter. He could and did tackle him. What say you? Don't like it. Don't like it. I don't like it. You take a guy out who was actually tackling their guy, and you take him out. So, you know, and here's I'm not trying to listen. I just want to be clear here. Someone can explain to me why they do what they do, but that still doesn't change the end result of why they did what they did, right? So, that's just where I'm at. Sometimes we get into whether it's football or whether it's life or whether it's at work or whatever, and someone says, hey, you know what, you have a lack of understanding. Let us explain to you why we did what we did. And they sit there and they explain to you like you're stupid. And then at the end of it, does that answer your questions? Well, hold on. One last question. What was the end result? What was the end result? Folks, I care about end results. I care about end results. There was no good reason to take Sammy Brown out. And if you're changing your defense to the defense that Lenora Sellers ended up running all over you with, I think we have our answer. Tiger auto bids are not a joke. Fire West, still gamble. You're tired of West. Going on down here. Cosmic Tactics, I really agree with you about Riley not being the answer. Who would you like us to go get if we did fire him? You know, I hate talking about firing people, and that's not really my goal. I think the guy could go get another job as far as like a head coach job at East Carolina. Would probably gladly hire him. Everything. So I don't like talking about people being fired. I really don't. I really don't, because the only difference with these guys is that they're paid outrageously well, and unless they've blown their money. It's not like most of society. If you lose your job, you're in a bad place, or you're having to be very, very careful with every dime you spend. These guys have made millions. Again, unless they have blown it, it might hurt them. It might embarrass their family, and that is bad. Okay, but they're not hurt like everybody else is. So I really don't like to talk about firing. With that said, you know, Florida State went out and hired Gus Malzahn to be their offensive coordinator. You know, a move like that would be really, really good. I'm not saying necessarily Gus Malzahn. I'd like to look over some of the offensive coordinators right now who's really making ways that maybe that they're up and coming, but like they're really, really good, really, really good schemers. Or if you could get your hands on someone like if you could ever lure a Joe Brady out of the NFL and say, hey man, you're tired of the NFL. How about you come back and come to Clemson? We'll make you the highest paid coordinator. We'll pay you more than what you're being paid in the NFL. You come back. I mean, that was the guy who turned Joe Burrow into an overnight sensation. He's the one that was behind that brilliant offensive scheme. A lot of people will say, well, Steve Ensminger was there with him too. Well, Steve was there before Joe was there, and they didn't win a national championship. And Steve was there, from what I can remember, after Joe left, which Joe was there for that one magical season. And last I checked, Orgeron got fired. So the magic was Joe Brady. Go after somebody like him, pay him handsomely. Move a little faster here. The game was never in hand. The best team won. Clemson had no business at the ACC Championship, but they're in. Not to get too excited. Sure, SMU will expose all the issues we have. The game was never in hand. I mean, Clemson was up most of the game, so the game was in hand, and Clemson let it go. I just politely disagree with you, Joe. I hate how it ended, and you know, I feel like Clemson is failing forward, and I don't know if that's the direction we really want our football team to be going. If you're a Clemson fan, I can't remember, Joe, who you pull for, but I believe they did have the game in hand. It was 14-10. It was 14-7. Clemson should have continued attacking downfield. Should have taken care of the football a little more, and Clemson would have celebrated a win. But I believe the game was in hand. We just have to agree to disagree. I'm glad you're here. Eddie Blackburn, SC fan who just found you. Love it. Subscribed last night. Thank you so much. Tommy Hancock, this is the last life for our 9 Lives Tigers. Hopefully they can find play at the true potential. Hopefully so. There's a bunch of you in here, and if I've overlooked you, SEC Dogs in here, Truett Graves is in here, Philip C's in here, Not One Spy, one on each side, P Digits, Evening People, Sports World, we got Judy Gallagher in here. If I messed up your name, please forgive me. Al Wynn, Al here, longtime Gamecocks fan, but still enjoy your show. Thank you so much. Another player decommitted from Clemson. That's number 7. Yeah, I saw that today. It's not good. Draco Fire, SC should get in over Bama. We got Hamp Redmond. Change something. Hamp Redmond, thank you for supporting the channel. I see that symbol beside your name. Thanks for supporting the channel monthly. Thank you for supporting the channel, my friend, on a monthly basis. Clemson gave the game away. Yep. The Dustmaster, what's up? What's up to you, my friend? Syracuse coach with a shout-out to Dabo. Yeah, that was hilarious. Let's see. Promote Matt Luke. Truitt, that's Dabo for you and Goodwin. If Goodwin and Riley aren't replaced with quality coaches, Clemson will never win anything again. There's a lot of people thinking about that, my friend. A lot of people. Angles in here. Hey, what player decommitted? It was a defensive back out of Monroe, North Carolina, if my memory serves me correct. Flipped to Michigan. South Carolina is making the playoffs. Mike 3883, are you making it after that Ohio State loss? Halo Master, Clemson should be embarrassed for playing in the ACC Championship. I'm going to be doing a video, by the way, tomorrow. It's going to talk about Clemson and how they got into it. I might even do it tonight. If I close down this video here in just a second, I may go live again. Y'all come right back. Let's talk about this one more time. Clemson and South Carolina, think about it. It would be good. It would be good TV. It would be good publicity for the very first college football playoff. You say, Brian, good publicity? Come on. Clemson's been struggling over the past, counting this season, 4 years. You have South Carolina, who historically is not that good, but, they pulled it together. What would this be good for the playoffs? It would highlight how two teams with 3 losses got in, one by conference championship, the other one by playing a really tough schedule and surviving with only 3 losses. 2 of those 3 losses were really close. Now, what happened with Ole Miss, I have no clue. But it would highlight how these teams were competitors in the playoffs. No matter your feelings or my feelings about Clemson and whether they should be there or not. To see a regular rivalry played in real time for much greater stakes than what they've ever played for, that would be really good for the college football playoff. And I think a lot of people would tune in. And they will set up games to where certain people play certain people, if possible, if it brings better ratings and it brings it creates a chance of an outcome that they want. So don't be shocked at that. All right, folks, tell me, do you see Clemson and South Carolina meeting in the college football playoff? If so, what % chance? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to see your comments, even if you disagree with me. Hope you'll throw that in there. If you haven't If you haven't subscribed, I need to go to bed. I hope you will. Remember, I looked at my analytics. A bunch of you are watching me. Oh, I'm talking about like 20,000 of you plus are watching me. And a lot of you still haven't subscribed. It's free. I'm independent. It would help if you like what I'm doing. It would mean a lot to me. Y'all take care of yourself. And as always, hey, listen, I think I'm going to go ahead and go live in just a moment and talk about Clemson failing forward into the ACC Championship. I hope to see you there in just a moment. You take care of yourself. And as always, go Tigers.